all, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're gonna be talking about the newest Disney Plus MCU series, Ms. Marvel. We're talking about the first episode, Generation Y. But before we get started talking about the first episode of Ms. Marvel, I think it's better that I talk about my experience with the character and really my thoughts going into it. So much like Moon Knight, except not exactly the same way as Moon Knight, because Ms. Marvel also appeared on the Marvel animated shows that appeared on Disney XD and Disney Channel, except Moon Knight only appeared in like one episode of Ultimate Spider-Man and one episode of Avengers Secret Wars. Ms. Marvel appeared in so much more. She started out as this superhero with Inferno, stopping Ultron bots, and then she teamed up with like this new team of Avengers with Black Panther, Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, Vision, Songbird, and Red Hulk, because Mars created this team. And then they joined she joined the other Avengers, as well as Black Bolt and Medusa, to go stop Ultron and his army. And then Black Panther, she was recruited from Black Panther, along with Captain Marvel, Vision, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, to basically save the Avengers from like the Kang the Conqueror, Arnim Zola, Enchantress, Scourge, the Leader. And then the Avengers got sent to different dimensions, and she kind of like became an actual Avenger. And then, you know, they got the Avengers back, and then Loki took over, and then Battleworld and all that stuff, and then she appeared in Avengers Secret Wars, and then there's an Avengers Black Panther's Quest, and then there's been times where she teamed up with Spider-Man a couple times. So she's been in the shows a lot of times. But in general, first off, I just want to say, I think this character was an interesting character for me to see, because I want to see what it's going to be like how this character is obsessed with superheroes. Like, how would that be like? And like, that was like one of the things I was really excited to look going forward into this show. And also, it's another teenage superhero that pretty much is like Spider-Man in a way, except it's not technically Spider-Man. So I still think that's the best thing about this show. Well, I mean, that's one of my favorite things about this show. And then also, I was curious to see how they're going to do their powers, because if you guys don't know, the way they changed her powers is that they made it more like Green Lantern than Mr. Fantastic, because her original powers are like Mr. Fantastic, and except it's big arms, and her new powers in this show, it's big arms, just cosmic big arms, cosmic big hands. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say of what I was excited going into it. Now let's talk about the first episode of Ms. Marvel and what did I think about it. And fun enough, I thought this episode was actually pretty good. Now, I'm not saying that it was the best introduction to a show of an MCU project ever. It was good, alright? It was okay. It was fine. But, I thought the stuff that they did in this, where most of the people say that for the early reviews, that it was like a coming-of-age story. And that's really what it is. It's all about these people, about this girl that dreams about Marvel, about superhero fantasies. She literally has a YouTube channel and does podcasts about superheroes. Her favorite superhero is Captain Marvel, which is where her superhero name Ms. Marvel comes from. And like it does all the stuff you think would happen. Like, her parents don't understand her love for superheroes. She's like the only one that gets it, and that's interesting. That's very interesting to me. Because not anyone else would really get it. And then also, it kind of does like a comic booky thing in a way, where, much like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, it actually has like the bubbles and people going on the screen and like the time zones and everything. And I kind of like the way they did that. They kind of did a little bit of a similar thing in like Spider-Man: Homecoming, but not really. But this movie does it. I mean, this show does it really artistically. And then likewise, there are some characters that I thought were pretty fun. The best friend of Kamala is of course likable. And then of course guess you could say I like the new power thing, I guess, because it's basically like a bracelet, and she wears a bracelet in the comics. So I thought that was cool. I don't really, and then of course when you get to the end credit scene, yeah, I'm surprised that there's actually an end credit scene in this episode. Like, I was like, wait, it just ended? Like, she literally just looks at her hand, says cosmic, and I'm like, wait, that's it? I thought, shouldn't there be more? And then I'm like, oh, so that's an end credit scene. And then it was the guy that broke into Peter Parker's house in Spider-Man: No Way Home. So I'm like, they're finding ways to do these characters together. I know it. So yeah, that's pretty much my good on this one. Now let's talk about the bad. And honestly, there's a couple of bad stuff when it comes to this show. On the negatives, I just think what this show did in that it's not exactly, generic Marvel. It does something. It basically just a coming of age story. If you're going into this show expecting, what we got with like Spider-Man and stuff, do not expect that, because that's not what it really is. It's more of a coming of age story, but also kind of, but with a sprinkle of little superhero elements. That's what basically I've heard, and that's what the show is. Granted, this is only the first episode. We have 5 more episodes after this, so it could be something different. And then also, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of her powers. It was cool the way she saved that girl from falling, but at the same time, because like I said, her powers aren't like this in the comics usually. Her powers are like Mr. Fantastic, except big, stretchy hand arms. And we get it with this, but it's cosmic big arms. It's a cosmic big hand. So, that's kind of weird, but they didn't want to make it like Mr. Fantastic, so they decided to make it like Green Lantern. So, either way, you're still going to make it like another character. So, I think that's kind of weird. Kind of a weird decision to do, just because you don't want to copy a character's moves. But, whatever. Honestly, there's not really much I can say about it, because there's just not a lot to really say. Because it's like, there's not really anything compelling, there's not really anything exciting. It was kind of like just a first watch, and I'm like, okay, I want to watch this. I mean, I'm gonna watch the whole thing. But, I don't know. I'm just gonna, I don't know. I like it, but then I don't. But I do like it. I did like the first episode of Ms. Marvel. So that's really my review. Before I give my final score, be sure to comment down below. What were your thoughts on the first episode of Ms. Marvel? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? What are you between? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section below. With that said, let's get all my scores. Alright, so that's one of my scores. So now we're going to talk about one more thing, and this is basically talking about, basically my little theories that we have, because there are some things I could talk about with this first episode. And honestly, I guess you could say, for some things that I can say, is that, I don't really feel like there's going to be a real villain in the show. Because I feel like that the villain of the show is going to be that guy that was in Spider-Man: No Way Home. And he's going to, like, try to get her. Like, he's just going to be chasing after her. And it's not going to end well. That's pretty much what the theory is. Is that they're going to be the villains of the show. Not exactly anyone else. I mean, it could be. And then also, like, I didn't understand, like, the whole bracelet thing. I understand it's something that Ms. Marvel wears in the comics. But I mean, like, she never really got her powers from that. Like she wasn't born with these powers, she just got them. So, that's what all the theories. Now I'll talk about some other stuff. Now I know that this is only one episode rating, but when talking about like this whole show, how I think it's gonna affect Phase 4, I think it will affect Phase 4 just a little bit, because you're creating something very brand new that has never really been done before, and I think that is kind of a good thing for Marvel, but at the same time, it's also kind of not exactly the best thing, because, I mean, they're taking risks, and this is something very new from Marvel, so I think it will affect Phase 4 just a little bit, but we'll see how it goes once the next 5 episodes come out. So now that the first episode is out, and I'll finally say that I will be watching the next 5 episodes. To be clear, this is an MCU series. I'm always here for the MCU content, so don't ever expect that I'm never going to stay here, because I will always be here for MCU content, no matter what. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the About section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.